Haribo to all my brothers and my sisters, and welcome back to Astral Motivation. Today we're going to be talking about the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, guys. And if you're new to Astral Motivation, welcome to Astral Motivation. My name is Vinodini Dasi, your Vedic astrologer. Definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell notifications if you're into any of the Vedic astrology or any into Vedic lifestyle. Here we talk all that nectar, so do not miss it. All right, guys, let's talk about the chapter 2. We're continuing the series of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Alrighty, my brothers and my sisters, let's start getting right into the nectar. But first, let's talk a little bit about what is the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the most important spiritual scriptures that you must know for your spiritual path. It's one of the most important scriptures of the Vedas. And when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, we bring all auspiciousness into our lives, and it literally transforms the heart and it shows us the way for our spiritual ascension. So this is a very, very important scripture, and I decided in honor of the Srimad Bhagavatam to do this little series with you guys. So let's dive together into this nectar. Let's share it together, and make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the nectar. And in this chapter 2, we're going to be discussing, and there's going to be a description of the 3 items, most important 3 items. The first one, the process, the abhideya. The number 2, bhakti, which is the goal, the prayoyam, and prem, which is the object of worship, which is Lord Bhagavan Krishna. Alrighty, guys, let's see what it is that we have for this beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jaya Shalakaya Chaksurmilitam Jenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Panchakalpatarunavasya cha kripa sindhueva cha patitanam pavanambhyo vaishnanambhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadayaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namigoratisve namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopikanta Radhakanta Namosute Tapta Kancha Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaveshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. After Sutta has listened to all the questions, he's actually very delighted to be able to answer all of these. And before he answers, he pays his respects to Sage Sukadeva for entering the minds of all. And because of him, he is the one that has been able to give us the many answers to what is the highest and most important thing that we should be inquiring about in our life. What is the goal of life? And so he pays obeisances to Sukadeva for being the sage of all sages. And through his mercy, we are able to understand more all the questions that the sages have, and we're able to get the right answers. And it's showing how it's passing through a purified lineage, and that it needs to be said from a bona fide source. And Sukadeva is the bona fide source, and he's the sages of all sages. So because of him, we have Bhagavatam, and we're able to really learn about it. And in the Bhagavatam, we're able to really understand how we can conquer samsara. So here in this chapter 2 is so beautiful because it pretty much says the 14 steps of how to get to the goal of life. And the goal of life is bhakti. And it talks about how other people according to what they are, if they're either yogis or yans. They're going to they're going to pursue something else. So the jnans are going to pursue the knowledge so that they're able to get to brahmana, which is just the space and the everything. And the yogis want to get to the paramatma, which is the soul inside of us, to find liberation. And the devotees are the devotees of Bhagavatam, which are able to reach him through bhakti. And even the yogis and the jnans, if they want to get to their goal, they're gonna have to go through bhakti to be able to get to that goal. But as a devotee going directly to bhakti, you're going to get the results of the jnans as well as the yogis as well as the devotees. So here is pretty much saying that the highest goal in life is inquiring about the highest truth, and in the highest truth we find it through bhakti, even if there's different ways to go about it. So even though there's different ways to go about it, they still have to go through bhakti in order to get the pure fruit from it. So they're also talking about how the devotee will be, because of that, higher than the yogi and the jnana in a way. So now, and that any jnana or yogi that doesn't go through bhakti is pretty much a wasted endeavor, and therefore it's a wasted endeavor in life. And that all material pursuits and anything else that is not to actually cultivate bhakti, it might just be a useless thing in our lives. So then it goes into saying, like, who's qualified for what? How can we become qualified to get bhakti? And the qualification to get bhakti is faith. So we do need faith. And as we have this faith, we will want to start remembering the Lord. And I really love the correlation of saying that the Lord is, that inquiring about the Lord and remembering the Lord is like a sword, and with that sword we are very well equipped to be able to cut the knot, the bondage, a knot that has been in our heart, that has been caused because of the false ego, and it gets tied up even more because of karma. So the attraction to the topics of the Lord and wanting to be of service to him is what gives us the ability to gain this source, so that we're able to cut away this false ego and this karmatic ties. It also talks about how bhakti cannot be destroyed. And once you have bhakti, like, you can have it for many lives and it can never be destroyed or created. And that devotion to the Lord by chanting, by hearing, by remembering is the only way that we can get to bhakti. And then it pretty much says that the knot of ignorance in the heart is cut through this, and that's the main goal of bhakti. The main goal of bhakti is not just karma or material acquirements or anything else. The goal of bhakti is that we can cut the knot of ignorance. And there's 14 steps to be able to get to this, which is the mercy of the devotee, which means this is what Sukadeva is doing for all of us right now, for the whole world, for the whole universe, by giving us his mercy. Because he's a devotee of the Lord, we're able to start gaining that faith, which is the second step. And then once we get that faith, then we have the surrendering to the Guru, because through Guru, through his mercy, through the mercy of the devotee is how we're able to get the mercy of the Lord. And then we start having the desire to worship him. And as we start having this desire to worship him, we can worship him by remembering his pastimes, his form, by servicing him. And this is when we start creating that energy of bhakti. And as we keep this practice, we start cleaning the anarthas. And as we start cleaning the anarthas, we get to nishta, where is when the mind is completely focused on the Lord. And of course, it also talks about how the only way for us to actually have our mind satisfied is going to be by bhakti. This is the only way that the mind can actually be satisfied. The mind will never be satisfied by anything material. So once we get to nishta and the mind is completely embedded and focused on the Lord, then we're able to really start having a sense of transformation, because the mind doesn't transform by lust, greed, or anger, or illusion, or hatred. and therefore the mind won't be satisfied. And then once this is there, then we're able to go to Ashakti, and Ashakti pretty much renounces all those things. And then we get to Rati, and Rati gives that constant detachment of that material world, where the mind is no longer wanting to be satisfied by anything else but by bhakti. And that's when we get to Rati, where we're like almost disgusted with the other part of the material world. And then from there, we're able to start actually getting into praying, which is the only thing that satisfies the mind. And as we start having praying, we start seeing the Lord, and we start experiencing his sweetness. And this is that self-realization that we are all seeking in the highest truth and the highest accomplishment that we can have in our lives. So bhakti is the only thing that gives happiness to the mind. Then it goes into actually talking about how the jiva is covered by Maya, and it will have a relation either with in one of the guns. And it talks about how the superior gun is sattva gun, which can only be done by Vishnu. Vishnu is not made of guns, but Brahma and Shiva are made out of guns. They are the ignorance and the rajas. So though they are made of gun, but Vishnu is not made of gun, is made of sattva gun. And so therefore Vishnu doesn't eclipse the knowledge and bliss that the Lord really is. But Brahma and Shiva, because they are made out of gun, they do eclipse that spiritual bliss. So therefore sattva is the superior gun out of all the guns. And sages that worship, so out of those three, which are extensions of the Lord, the best one to worship will be Vishnu, because Vishnu is the one that is Sudat Sattva, and it will help us gain into that liberation. So there's really no need to worship other devas. There's really no need to worship other ones. However, we do need to be respectful and just kind of and then really focus on the avatars of Narayan and Krishna. Now, those that have the similar nature to either Raja or Tattva or Sattva will naturally lean towards those, but that Sattva will be the highest one of all. And at the end, if we ask what is the purpose of the Vedas, the purpose is not just the ritualistics and the ritual things that the Vedas do. The Vedas is about finding our true home with Krishna by worshiping Vasudeva. The conclusion of the Vedas is to worship Vasudeva and to have full devotion for Bhagavan, and that's how we are getting closer and closer to him. And also at the end it talks about how the Lord will be in the soul of the jiva, but it will not be contaminated by material. It will not be contaminated by the gun, even though the jiva is in a gun and is in the Maya's embrace. So even though the Lord is situated there, the Lord does not get affected by them. And as we remember him, we are able to start uncovering this Maya out of us, and we're able to go more into the Sattva gun. And it also talks about how without the Paramatma, without that soul, we wouldn't even be able to actually enjoy. And it's not because Krishna is trying to enjoy through us. It doesn't give him any pleasure to actually be enjoying any material things, but it is because he resides within our heart that we have the ability to enjoy. So this is the way that Paramatma lets the jiva enjoy. So thus the Lord is everything, and he's the one that protects all the worlds, and he's the controller of it all, and he is in the Sattva gun energy.